Well, in 6.2, we're going to look at something called interest. And interest is something that you can gain as a money value over and above an investment or a balance in a bank account. Banks want your money, and they will give you interest if you keep it there. And the different amounts of interest will depend on the amount that you're going to give them, but also the risk you're willing to put into your investment. So if you can invest in the stock market, you might gain more. You also might lose more. Today we're going to look at simple interest and then something called compound interest. So simple interest just means you find the percentage of a value of money. So in this example here, this guy's going to invest $2,000 and it's going to get a simple interest rate of 1.75% per year. So in the first year, to find that interest, which you can see on the page here, it's simply your principal amount, the amount you're investing, times the interest rate as a percentage. So if you change 1.75 to percent by dividing by 100, and then times it by the number of years, you multiply that together, you'll get $35. If you do it for 2 years, you'll get 1.75% twice, and the amount doubles to $35. And so what we really have done here is we've created a formula that to find the interest, you take the principal amount, which is the original amount you're going to invest, multiply it by the rate, which is your interest rate, and the number of years is your time. So let's apply that to a compound interest situation where we have a principal amount still of $2,000, and we also have an interest rate still of 1.75%. For 1 year, our answer is going to be the same. $35 is what you gain. But with compound interest, you then take that amount and you add it to your original 2,000, and you'll see it in this table here that our new amount at the end of the year is $2,035 instead of the $2,000 like it was on the previous page. So when we go to calculate our interest in the second year, we're not going to calculate it only on the $2,000, but on the $2,035. So when we calculate it, our principal is now $2,035. Interest rate's the same, still for 1 more year. And we get more interest because we had a higher principal, and it keeps on building and building and building. And then question C is interesting because it says, how would you do this if you did it over 10 years? How would you figure that out? And in order for you to figure that out, you'd have to continue this table, go 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, all the way to 10. And that would take a lot of work. Is there another way to do it? Yes, there is. And I'm going to show that to you. Just give me a second here. I'm going to grab a better with the pen. If you take your principal amount, which was the $2,000, and you multiply it by the, sorry for the messiness, multiply it by the interest rate. Just a second here. I can type this, so it'll be way faster. We'll go $2,000 times the interest rate plus itself. So times itself, which is 1, times the interest rate. If we put it to the power of, and that's what this symbol means, to the power of the number of years it's going to compound, in this case 10, we can figure this out. So we should type this into our calculators. If you have your calculator, get it out. To the power of 10, and then multiply that by 2,000. We can get our total value after 10 years. And with compound interest, the longer you leave the money in, the more money you're going to get. So after 10 years, the value would be $2,378.89 if it was compounded annually. Another example involving compound interest is if we have now a principal of $6,000. The interest rate is 4% now, but it's compounded twice a year, which is called semi-annually, and the total is going to be 3 years. We're going to represent this situation in a table. So at 1 year, our initial value is $6,000. After 1 year at 4% for half a year, 0.5 is every half a year, we would get $120 every half a year. So, sorry, we would get $60 every half year. And we would get a total then after the end of that year of $6,120. That becomes your new interest or your new investment in the second year. The percentages stay the same, and you can see every year we're going to earn more and more interest because our principal amount goes up, and by the end we would end up with $6,756.98. Another way that you can do this would be to take your principal amount and multiply it by 1 plus your interest rate. Now, if it's compounded semi-annually, we need to divide 4% by 2, which would be 0.02. And over 3 years, that would happen 6 times. So that would be to the power of 6. So let's type that in and see if we get the same value. 6756.97. So very close to the same answer. 6756.97. So with rounding, it's a little bit different, but you can do it all in one step. And if you don't remember or can't remember how to do it all in one step and you want me to help you, just ask me. So here's your assignment. And still keep up with your definitions page and make sure you continue to check your answers as you work. If you don't know why the answer is not the way it is, make sure you ask people. Don't simply leave well enough alone. I would be glad to help you. So that's it. We'll see you again for section 6.3.